the Monday, February 7th meeting of the Dalton City Council to order. Mr. Mock will lead us in the pledge.
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go and approve the agenda before we go upstairs. Any quick additions, corrections, additions? Your motion to be approved?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mock, a second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Harlan, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Now I need a motion to go into executive session on personnel matters. Motion by Ms. Harlan, is there a second? Second by Mr. Mock, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. We'll go upstairs for this. Thank you for that. We're live. On the restaurant. Oh, okay. Public commentary. Do I hear a motion would come out of executive session?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mock. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Farah, Mr. Goodlet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next on the agenda is a special presentation from Jeff Myers, President and CEO of the Hamilton Medical Center. Come on, Jeff, come with the.
Do they want someone to come up with?
Yes, I'll, if you want to go ahead and then I'll call them up at the end.
Okay, that'd be fine. It's okay if I remove this for a second?
Yep.
First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to be here, and anyone who knows me, I'm not real great at reading things. So I would hope that a reading of this expresses a sincere appreciation that the Board of Trustees, the administration, and the associates at Hamilton all have for all that the city has done in terms of supporting us through this last couple of years of the COVID crisis. So thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here. This is a resolution of the Hamilton Medical Center recognizing the city of Dalton. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic caused and continues to cause widespread illness throughout our community that has tested the limits of our nation's healthcare delivery system. Whereas throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, the city of Dalton prioritized our community's safety and health by responding with compassion, understanding, and action to the needs of Hamilton Medical Center and its staff by issuing a state of emergency. And whereas the city of Dalton, the mayor, and its city council members partnered with Hamilton Medical Center to inform the community about and advocate for reducing the spread of COVID-19 virus. And whereas the city of Dalton supplemented the services offered by Hamilton Medical Center to prevent overloading the hospital by setting up drive-through testing, drive-through vaccinations, and drive-through antiviral treatments. And whereas during staffing shortages at Hamilton Medical Center, the city of Dalton volunteered its medically trained employees to temporarily staff the hospital to ensure that the Hamilton Medical Center could continue operating at maximum capacity to fulfill its mission of compassionate care for all patients, even during the highest peaks of the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the city of Dalton, the mayor, and the city council members be honored for their outstanding service and prompt actions in the face of the worst healthcare crisis in more than a generation. Now therefore be it resolved that Hamilton Medical Center, by unanimous vote, 18th day of November 2021, does hereby recognize the city of Dalton for its support of Hamilton Medical Center and its patients, and does hereby extend to the city of Dalton and its city council members its deepest gratitude and appreciation for the acts of service and support they have offered to Hamilton Medical Center during the COVID-19 pandemic. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be delivered to Mayor David Pennington and set forth in the minutes of Hamilton Medical Center, so that the city of Dalton and all who now and hereafter serve as trustees of Hamilton Medical Center may know the board's deep appreciation for the city of Dalton and the high esteem for which it is held as a consequence thereof.
Thank you, Jeff.
you so much.
If I could, I just would like to say, I came into this position on August the 12th. On August the 16th, the mayor and council issued a state of emergency. And on the 17th, we had 20 city staff members at Hamilton, as noted in the resolution, providing support. And so that would not have been possible without some of the staff I would like to ask to come up when I call their name. These individuals served as the team leads for their respective departments and provided critical coordination support to assist Hamilton during this effort. So from Dalton Fire, Lieutenant Josh Townsend, if you'll come forward. Firefighter Chad Hall. From Dalton Public Works Department, Jerome Key, team lead, as well as Bradley Lowry. And from Dalton Parks and Recreation Department, Will Chappell and Sean Cox. And I'll also say, I would like to recognize Bradley Lowry. Raise your hand, Bradley, please. He received the Heart of Hamilton recognition card from a peer worker while working during food services. He was recognized for being positive and upbeat in every interaction with staff and the public, and was quick to cover for a coworker when they stepped away, and provided a welcoming reassurance and friendly smile during the stressful pandemic. So thank you for that. And at this time, I'd like to get a photo if we can. Jorge.
Quick last comment. As someone who was not from Dalton, grew up outside of here, this is an amazing city. And the way people came together to take care of each other is absolutely incredible. It's like no place I've ever been or seen. And my sincere thanks to each and every one of you for everything that you've done.
Go down there for the picture, have him presenting that. And let you put that. Sure, great. That'd be great. Everybody get up. We have to turn this on.
Over, Chief. Thanks. See you, buddy.
And click that. Next on the agenda is Margaret. I think you've got a presentation from the CVB.
I'm not sure how to start it.
What do you want? This. Okay.
Speaking Greek to me. Does that help? Sorry. Little technical glitch. I just thank you, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to briefly, I will try to be very brief, but show you a little bit of a snapshot of 2021 and then what we're looking forward to do for 2022. The Board of Directors for the Convention and Visitors Bureau have already seen this information. So Councilman Mott, you have to suffer through once again. But again, I'll try to be pretty brief with this. So the Convention and Visitors Bureau, for the most part, we're the primary marketing arm for the city and for the county. But in a nutshell, our goal is to bring the outside visitor into our community to utilize all of our economic engines, which are the convention center, our parks and recreation, to stay in our hotels, to shop in our shops, buy gas, dine in our restaurants, anything and everything that causes them to come into our community and spend their money, therefore pay taxes, which come back into our community through tax expenditures. A little bit of taste of what we do and how we do it, and I'll go through these pretty quickly. I'll start with advertising and marketing. We are the primary marketing arm, as I mentioned. So if you ride up and down I-75, you will see that we have 8 billboards, north and southbound collectively. We also have 2 electronic billboards that we have a presence on. That's above Steak and Shake and on the North Bypass. We're in print advertisement with Georgia Parks. And then we also have a website presence in a banner ad format on their sites. We're in Georgia Great Places. We're part of the Historic High Country Travel Association, which is a regional travel association. We're in their travel guide as well as a place on their maps. We're in Southern Living. We're in Floor Focus. That's a new advertisement. And the whole idea behind that was to kind of bridge the gap between our flooring industry and our community. But it's also all about the people, as Dalton is about the people. USA Today, we capture those I-75 travelers going northbound and southbound. We have a presence on the Georgia map, and then of course in the southeast region of the National Model Railroad Association. More marketing that we are involved in. We do our visitor guide that we print annually, our dining guide, which we print quarterly. We give those to all of our groups that come into our community, as well as mail out to anyone who's interested in learning more about Dalton. We also have those at our regional visitor information centers in Ringgold and Valdosta. And then we have those at our visitor information centers at the Freight Depot and out at Tunnel Hill. We maintain websites, visit DaltonGA.com, DaltonEvents.com, Civil War Railroad Tunnel.com, DaltonCivilWar.com. Going forward, we don't have any plans to really change our advertising and marketing. We, if anything, are going to continue with that momentum and hopefully ramp up some more of the visitors as COVID kind of, I guess everybody gets used to COVID. So going forward, you'll see more billboards along I-75. And then of course our Floor Focus ad did shift and change. But again, it's about the people, and it's titled actually Taste of Dalton as opposed to a Taste of Design, which was the inaugural. Our USA Today, we just renewed those advertisements. So that's going out to those again that are traveling I-75. Oops. We just got our visitor guide in print and into our visitor information centers, as well as in the hands of those visitors that are coming into our community thus far, but they'll be mailed out and put at Parks and Recreation all throughout the county. Our Dining guide is already out for the first quarter. We try to do that quarterly. And of course, our textile legacy, you'll see that. We wanted to launch that last year, but it is a driving tour dedicated to our textile legacy. We are still waiting on a board to be printed. We kind of got caught up in the lack of getting supplies in. So we hope to have that within the next month, and we'll do a ribbon cutting. And I'll speak a little more about that soon. And then, of course, Tunnel Hills Guide by Sale. COVID definitely gave us an opportunity to pivot, which we did with advertising and marketing. This is a video. I don't know if it'll come through. Where is he? Will it come through? Probably not. Any rate, just to keep it short and sweet. We also we have a video on our sports complexes through the city and the county. And this is a piece that we showed in May at our tourism week, if you will. And we constantly update that because when we go to travel shows, like shows on sports, we're able to show them what all we have here in the community, and it helps them buy our community, if you will, a little bit better. We've got a lot of updates to it to be done with the county doing turf, with the city doing turf and soccer fields. So we're excited that we're going to get to make those changes. Just a little snapshot, if you remember, I'm sure no one's forgotten COVID at all, but as far as the travel, tourism, convention, if you will, industry, we started the year still under executive orders from the governor. We went through full executive orders through pretty much May of 2021, where they started paring down. June 2021, all the provisions restricting the hospitality industry was removed. And then by July 2021, that 50+ page executive order was pared down to 1 page. So pivoting, we had to learn how to do starting in March of 20 all the way through July of 2021. Nonetheless, we were able to still bring in group business. As you recall, that's really kind of our primary target, but we couldn't do it without our partners, our hotels, our convention center, our Dalton Parks and Recreation, of course, Whitfield County Parks and Recreation, and then our attractions and a community at large. We maintain memberships in organizations like Georgia Society of Association Executives. That opens up our state associations. We maintain a membership with Georgia Convention and Visitors Bureaus, Historic High Country, and of course, Georgia Sports. We do attend several trade shows. We picked up an additional trade show this past year called the Small Market Meeting Symposium. It actually ended up being very fruitful for our community size and trying to capitalize on the convention center and the meeting space that it has, accompanied by all of the hotel representation around. Our group business for 2021, looking back, we sent out 83 leads. We turned 64 groups definite, majority of those being sports. That is a niche market for us. So our Parks and Recreation are ever more so important. But we also had 11 brand new events come into our community for 2021. That's pretty amazing. So going forward for 2022, you will see listed several new events that we've come into our community. These are brand new groups. And in front of you in the packet, I did give you a list of those groups as we know them now, because we're constantly trying to book groups throughout the year. But just to point out a few, Hometown Productions is actually who's putting on the Travis Tritt concert up at the Convention Center. And they're also doing the 38 Special and Marshall Tucker Band the next night at the Convention Center. And they've got 2 more dates on the books at the Convention Center for more concerts. Then we've got the Georgia Mountain Moonshine Cruise-In. That is the car show that's coming at the end of July. They'll be in our community pretty much Tuesday through Sunday. They'll be up at the Convention Center, but then after 5 o'clock, they shut down and they will be out into our downtown and amongst our community. You can see that we've got many other groups that are coming in that we're excited to welcome and host. Some we brought in from Rome because their facility is still not open. Some we brought in from Chattanooga. So we're excited to be able to draw from the region, different partners that have had this business throughout the region. The bigger picture is obviously what we're all about. So we do put together reports, which you have January's production in front of you as well. These this calculates the actual economic impact, meaning it tells us exactly how many hotel rooms were occupied at each of these facilities, at what rate. And then it also shows you what facility rental was paid. So it gives you an actual economic impact for our community. And then, of course, hotel motel tax is another gauge of our success, as those visitors pay that tax. That's the one tax that our locals don't have to pay. Other hats that we wear quickly are, we are over the Visitor Information Center, which is at the Freight Depot downtown. It also is home to the Bandy Heritage Museum and the gift shop. And the big thing that we're trying to do there is to level up that gift shop by featuring a taste or a made in Dalton and a made in Georgia component for our visitors to kind of come in and enjoy what Dalton has. And a lot of people don't realize what all's actually made here besides flooring. And so it's actually been interesting to talk to those visitors that come in, and it spars on different conversations. But part of that too is a Ken's Entrepreneur Program. We just started that this year, where a child can fill out an application if they've got a product that they're making. For instance, we've got candy craft in right now, and so they can feature their product monthly into our visitors and see if they can't make it as an entrepreneur. That is, after all, a good part of our community. So trying to level up that piece for our visitors. Also, Clisby Austin Home, the Tunnel Hill Museum, and that campus out in Tunnel Hill is another one of the hats that we wear. Visitors in both of these locations has been low, but it's been higher than what it was in 2020. We have started guided tours back, but by reservation only. For the most part, field trips were nil to none, so we did reach out to the homeschool program and try to bring them in. We created Tidbit Tuesday. We created Living History, brought on a new exhibit for Clisby Austin, and then of course our Moonlight and Moonshine event. And going forward for 2022, we are looking to work with the National Medal of Honor Museum to cross-sell and to celebrate the anniversary of Andrews Raiders. We're also applied for a Georgia Civil War Commission grant to help us level up, if you will, the grounds out at Tunnel Hill. We've got a lot of out partials that if we can make it to where it's secure and safe, we can tell another story of that property out there. So we're looking to do that as well. And then of course, continue with the Living History Weekends, which we've got one coming up March 12th. It's going to be a reenactment of a drill. And then Moonlight, Moonshine, and we're looking to possibly do a Christmas with the Austins. The trolley is another hat we wear. We did suspend the hotel route, but we did have 24 private rentals. Total riders are down, but what we are doing for 2022 is if we've got a large group in the community, we run the hotel route to make sure that we can hopefully funnel some of our guests to downtown, and then of course up for private rental. It is an older fleet, so we are trying to be very cautious and conscious as we've had it break down a good bit over the past year, so we're keeping it a little bit closer to home. And then last but not least, product development. That's one of the things that keeps what we do fresh and entices our visitors to come in. So, you know, for 2021, though the Convention and Visitors Bureau started off the Rails concert series, we certainly have grown that with the help of our partners, Downtown Development, Community Foundation, the Creative Arts Guild. And so we look to continue that for 2022. DaltonCivilWar.com was a partnership with Whitfield County, but it took the 150th Civil War site that we had and kind of rolled it into an all-encompassing Civil War site for Dalton. And it also connects to the QR codes that are found on the boards throughout Rocky Face Ridge Park. The Textile Heritage Driving Tour, I mentioned that, but the next thing we want to do for 2022 is take it to another level. Bring in interviews and conversations with those that were there and or family that was there in the very beginning. Clisby Austin exhibit was in 2021. And then of course our Living History Days, and then the gift shop expansion. So all of this helps us do what we do by offering the guest a little something extra as to why they should stay in Dalton Whitfield a little bit longer. Thank y'all again for allowing me to present this. And if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Thank you. That's
Like, how do I get to, I mean, not that they can't go to the website, they're very excited, so.
well, and that's one of those examples of how the CVB and the Convention Center work together. Because without economic engines like the Convention Center, like Dalton Parks and Recreation, we certainly couldn't bring those visitors in to stay in our community. So it's exciting. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Next are the mayor and council meetings from January 18th, 2022. Are there any additions, corrections, additions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Mock. Second. Second by Ms. Harlan. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Under unfinished business, this is second reading. We'll take action on this tonight. Ordinance 22-01, an ordinance to amend Article Hotel Motel Tax of the Revised Code of the 2001 of the City of Dalton for purpose of incorporating provisions of House Bill 317 of the 2021 session of the Georgia General Assembly into the city's regulatory provisions to make certain technical corrections to Section 106-33 to conform to the tax rate specified in Section 106-32 to provide for information reporting of properties within the city that are listed for lodging or accommodations by a marketplace facilitator or marketplace innkeeper, as the case may be, for purposes of administration enforcement, to provide effective date, to provide for severability, and for other purposes. Mr. Miller, you got this?
Facilities. And you create the state law. It's somewhat like it is simply for city and state law.
Any questions to Terry? There a motion on this?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Farrow, or second? Second by Mr. Mock. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. This is new business. Number 5, traffic control change, speed limit reduction on East Vars Street from Glenwood Avenue to Henderson Street. Who's got that?
Jackson.
Hey, Jackson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What I bring today is a recommendation to reduce the posted speed limit on a portion of the East Morris Street from Henderson Street to Glenwood Avenue. The Public Works Department has been, over the past several months, has been working towards improving the corridor and by replacing old existing stormwater infrastructure, terracotta infrastructure with reinforced concrete pipes, as well as adding additional parking and also bringing the sidewalks to ADA accessibility compliant specifications. Given controlling criteria such as the anticipated increase in pedestrian traffic through the corridor, through the revitalization of that area, as well as the limited sight distance on that is caused from the increase in or introduction of parallel parking on East Moore Street, as well as the hindered sight distance at a unsignalized intersection of Spencer Street and East Moore Street in accordance with METCD and AASHTO geometric design specifications. These controlling criteria recommend to reduce that posted speed limit by 10 miles an hour. This will provide a continuous 25-mile-an-hour speed zone from Thornton Avenue of East Morris all the way to Henderson Street, and sort of in accordance with connecting to the speed limits and traffic conditions of downtown.
Where's Henderson Street?
Henderson Street is, let's see, it is just east of, let's see,
Green Street's the next one after Green Street?
Green Street. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good.
And this proposal was brought forward to the previous Public Works Committee meeting with positive recommendations.
Questions, Jackson? Your motion on this?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mock, second by Mr. Farah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Number 6, you don't have this one, Jackson. Riverbend Road Stormwater Project, Corrective Action Plan, Temporary Permanent Easements, and Memorandum of Understanding.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. This one actually is on behalf of Public Works. I've been working on this for a while. We've been collaborating on it together, so I'm presenting it for them as well as the information that I've gathered for it. This request is to approve the corrective action plan for Riverbend Road Stormwater Project. If approved, this will begin the collaborative effort between the City of Dalton, State Enterprises, and the North Georgia Radio Group. The purpose of this project is to address existing stormwater capacity issues within the existing public right-of-way. Currently, the stormwater drainage flows north from the proposed project limits that are displayed in the corrective action plan inside your packet. Then it flows through a commercial property before ultimately discharging into an open channel to the west. The existing capacity issue was identified during the due diligence phase of a new construction for a commercial project. The City Public Works Department, as well as the owner of that property, State and Enterprises, and the owner's engineer, which was Richards Engineering, reviewed the area and determined the existing infrastructure was undersized. Richards Engineering developed the corrective action plan to address the redirecting the flow of the water from the low point along the existing right-of-way, and then to help alleviate the standing water in the roadway. This both facilitates local business expansion as well as addressing the public safety concern for the water in the roadway during storm events and the holding of it. Included in this package, I have the corrective action plan, which was developed by Steve Richards with Richards Engineering, a temporary construction easement and a permanent drainage easement that is with North Georgia Radio Group, and also an MOU prepared for the scope of the work for material supply and the labor. All of those documents have been partially executed to show the interest for moving this project forward with property owners as well as the community partners. Also, this was previously presented in a December Finance Committee meeting, just as a FYI for everybody's sake.
Where's the funding coming from?
The MOU provides for the state and enterprises to pay for the cost, the direct cost to the city for the pipe, and the Public Works Department will be providing the labor. So there's no direct expense to the city.
Questions? Your motion on this? Motion by Ms. Harlan, second by Mr. Mock. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, like sign. Number 7, KRH Architects Design Service Amendment number 1 for the new Aquatic Center.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is amendment to number 1 to the AIA contract services document that was previously approved by Mayor and Council for the design of the Aquatic Center with KRH Architects. Amendment number 1 includes several things, so I'm going to walk through this list, and then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. It changes the project site to James Brown Park, which is city-owned at the intersection of Avenue C and Mitchell Street. It will allow for a campus design due to the ongoing planned renovations of John Davis Center. So we're very excited about the fact that we'll be able to design this as a full recreational campus with basketball, soccer, aquatics. Caitlin Sharp has been working directly with my office to facilitate the design with the 2 architects on these separate projects. The cost of the work is also increasing to 23 million based on the updated engineer's estimate. That was taking some relatively recent bid data for a similar aquatic center within Georgia so that we could get the best estimate for the council as possible to make decisions for moving forward. We'll be funding that increase with a combination of the fund balance. And as you'll recall, the FY22 budget include moving our ARPA disbursement into the general fund to fund public safety operations, thereby providing additional funding for projects. It also revises the procurement delivery method. We've talked about this some in the Finance Committee meeting to a construction manager at risk. Previously, it was set up for an RFP, but due to the ever-changing environment in this construction sector, the architect and the city has seen it useful to bring on a GC at the beginning. This is an allowed procurement delivery method under the Public Works Construction Law. And we're also changing the pool design consultant from the original agreement to Councilman Hunsaker. Councilman Hunsaker performs the pool design. They're a national aquatic consultant, and they have performed the design for several aquatic centers that we have studied in the Southeast, namely the Huntsville Aquatic Center, which is a very similar project in comparison to the cities. Their fee, however, is 7%, where the prior pool consultant was 6%. So we've reflected that in the amendment. And then we've also revised the billing schedule on the project to bill certain percentages for design elements. And that just changed from the original contract. So about 80% of the design work will be billed if this project doesn't go to construction. So just to let you know. Those are the major changes to the contract document. We've also updated the project schedule based on the timeline associated with making the site change. We anticipate later this week issuing the RFP for the CM at risk procurement method. And then we hope to begin site work by mid-June. And then substantial completion for the project will be December of 2023. So it's about an 18-month construction timeline. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions, Andrew? Your motion on this? Motion by Ms. Harlan, second by Mr. Goodlett. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Number 8, professional service agreement with Geohydro Engineers for geotechnical services at James Brown Park for the new aquatic center. Megan's got that.
Yeah, thank you again, Mayor and Council. This is for the approval of the PSA or professional services agreement with Geohydro Engineers for some additional geotech work. This will be for the supplemental piezometers installation to provide specific information about the depths of existing water table in the area, as well as to give accurate information about the fluctuation of the water table on the site. There's been a little bit of work done that shows average various depths of the water range from about 9 feet to 19 feet, but we need to know some more specifics to make sure as we excavate a very large area of this property that we're not having any issues with the structural integrity of it, as well as any of the drainage techniques that we need to verify. This work should be completed within 4 to 5 weeks of notice to proceed if approved, and this will be paid for out of the Aquatic Center project budget of the 21 bond series.
Motion by Mr. Mox, your second. Second by Ms. Harlan. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
Number 9, MBA Consulting Engineers for HVAC evaluation for City Hall. How many of these evaluations have we had?
Well, this is a different one. We've had plenty, but not this one. In July of this year, this building will have been occupied 18 years, if you can believe that. We still have much of our original equipment, boilers, valves, dampers, all kinds of things like that. I've known more about HVAC in the last 2 years than I've known in my whole life. We have determined, and Andrew and I have talked about this, we've also talked with Ken Harless and Megan, that we don't know what we don't know. It's a very complex system. It obviously is an aging system, and we need an objective professional group to take a look at what needs to happen, heating, ventilation, air conditioning wise for this building. The MBA consulting engineers are just that. They're mechanical HVAC engineers. They come in, they evaluate our system, and they're objective, which is key. If you bring boiler people in, they're going to tell you need new boiler. If you bring ductwork people in, they're going to tell you need new ductwork, and on and on and on. These folks don't have a dog in that fight, and they will give us an objective opinion as to how to proceed with either repairing, replacing, or some combination thereof of the heating and ventilation system in this building.
What's the cost?
We're looking at it out of building maintenance, which is budgeted, yes.
What's the cost?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's $3,700 right at it.
Your motion on this? Motion by Mr. Mock, is there a second? Second by Ms. Harlan, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Number 10, professional services agreement by own security. Jorge?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. The city is seeking an approval for professional services from Bion Security to help guide the city's IT department in developing the new network equipment to best practices to get it deployed across the whole city. In the professional services agreement that you have before you is not to exceed $25,000 for the overall project. All these funds have been approved, and they are coming out of the 2022 operating budget for the IT department. It's also very important to note that this project will be done in blocks of 20 and 40 hours. So I can manage how much of the funds are out for that particular project. Any questions?
What was the cost?
Not to exceed 25,000.
Any other questions? Your motion? Motion by Ms. Harlan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Goodlett. All in favor, say aye. All
Aye.
opposed, like sign.
Thank you.
Number 11 is appointment of Chad Townsend, position of Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chad, if you don't care to come forward, very pleased tonight to present to you the sole finalist for Public Works Director, Chad Townsend. Chad was named as sole finalist on January the 13th after a couple of attempts to fill this position since it was vacated in mid-August. When I moved into this position, Chad brings over a dozen years in the private sector. He spent his entire career in the private sector within the civil engineering, construction management, grading, utilities, and infrastructure sectors. Just an excellent candidate to serve the city in a leadership role at Public Works. I understand he spent most of the day getting oriented with the staff and the leadership team at Public Works. Chad does bring a unanimous recommendation from our Public Works Committee members who took part in the interview. And I understand Chad's wife, Stephanie is here as well. So I'd like to recognize her. Chad, do you want to say a few words?
I'm just very appreciative of the opportunity. Look forward to serving the citizens of Dalton, and hopefully I can carry on the great foundation that Mr. Parker and Mr. Dunn have left for me. So
You've got big shoes to fill. For the last 20 years, we had Benny Dunn, then Andrew Parker, back to Benny Dunn. But I'm sure you're going to be great. There a motion on this?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Harlan, second by Mr. Goodlett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. There's no supplemental business come. I'll entertain a motion. We adjourn.
So moved.
We're adjourned.